Well, looks like the Texans finally got rid of the ghost of Diontae Johnson past.
That would be so
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Give me a second. On now. You tune into the Texas Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. Let me fix that. There we go. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter. Big Sarge was the Z at the end. Follow me on the tick and the talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are subscribed to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast. It's one coming soon, y'all. I promise you, it's one coming soon. And subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk YouTube channel, all one word, Texas Tailgate Talk. Make sure you'll follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. Hold on, I got to make sure I do that. And make sure you read my articles at www.bigsargemedia.com. What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing? What are we? How was y'all day? Mine was amazing. And it was a little emotional. Not because of what you all think it was emotional from, but it was a little bit emotional for me because Houston Texans linebacker E.J. Speed was out at the Methodist Hospital out in Cyprus, visiting the cancer patients who are taking chemotherapy and radiation. And, you know, that was kind of one of them heartfelt moments for me. I hadn't been in one of those rooms since 27. No, I hadn't been in one of those rooms since 2014. Since 2014. So I walked into that room. I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, hold on, time out. Wait, this ain't what I thought this was." And you know what? I should have been reading the. I should have been reading the I should have been reading the email. I just looked at where it's gonna be. I'm like, cool. I should have did that, but you know, so it's kind of emotional for me. But you know, as I got over that, next thing I know, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, what? So for those of you all who have been living under a rock or have been stuck on TikTok all day, because you know some of y'all be at work acting like y'all really working. Y'all got y'all ear pods in, but you know they think you listen to music and you really looking and listening to TikToks. Yeah, I got it. I know what y'all be doing. So for those of you all who don't know, on Tuesday, the Houston Texans released safety S.C.J. Gardner-Johnson, a player that they had acquired in the offseason after trading with the Philadelphia Eagles, sending offensive lineman Kenyon Green and a 2026 fifth-round pick to the Eagles for Gardner-Johnson and a 2026 sixth-round pick. And, okay. All right. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. Pull up my notes. Got to pull up my notes. Oh, for those of y'all wondering, hey, I got on y'all see what I got on, right? I got on my apron. I got on my Texas apron. And I'm about to cook up in here, y'all. I'm about to cook some things up in here. We about to cook. Okay, so I don't know how many of you all remember the 2024 AFC wildcard game between the Houston Texans and the Los Angeles Chargers. That's the game that the Texans defense made Justin Herbert, who everybody wants to call a top 10 quarterback, which, I mean, side note, hey, that man did a hell of a pass to Keenan Allen the other day going across his body. That was amazing. You know what? I will say, Justin, let me take that back. Justin Herbert is a top 10 quarterback. Justin Herbert is not a top 5 quarterback. And some people keep trying to make him a top 5 quarterback, and he's not a top 5 quarterback. Now, with that being said, the Houston Texans blew out the Los Angeles Chargers in the 2024 AFC wildcard game. And you would think that with them winning that game, their second playoff win in the last 2 years under the DeMeco Ryans regime, with quarterback C.J. Stroud and defensive end, Will Anderson Jr., Nico was playing out of his mind. That's when they had running back Joe Mixon, who also made the Pro Bowl. You would think that coming out of that game, the only thing that would be talked about was how well the Houston Texans offense played, how well the Houston Texans defense played, how well Derek Stingley Jr. played in that game. You would think that that's the only thing that would have come out of that game. But it wasn't. There was a huge distraction going on during that game and after that game. I don't know how many of you all remember former Texans wide receiver Diontae Johnson. Now, look, he was only here for a quick minute. Like he wasn't here. He wasn't here for a very, very, very long time. He was here, how many minutes? 6 minutes and 56 seconds. I can say this. He was about here. He was with the Texans about as long as some of you dudes be lasting when, you know what? Don't do it, Sarge. Don't do it. Wait, hold on. Okay, so I'm looking and I don't see Miss Jordan in here, so I can say it. And I don't see Reverend Brooks in here. Now, y'all tell me if they come in here. If Reverend Brooks or Miss Jordan come up in here, y'all got to tell me. Y'all got to let me know because I be acting bad till I see them. But, Diontae Johnson was a quickie, right? Diontae Johnson was a quickie. Diontae Johnson was here. Diontae Johnson lasted as long as some of you dudes who be blaming it on the liquor. Oh, I was going to tear that up, girl. I was going to tear that up. Ooh, you better be glad I'm drunk. Right. You was drunk. Ooh, if I were high. Oh, if I hadn't worked so long. If the Texans hadn't stressed me out. Ooh, I would have gave you the best time of your life. But I could only give you a hot 3 minutes. I digress. Diontae Johnson, during the game, had to be talked to by quarterback C.J. Stroud. Now, a rookie. You've been in this league longer than he has, and it's a second-year player having to talk to you about keeping your composure and playing within the system. And they know, like, heading into that game, there was a lot of chatter about Diontae Johnson and him not being happy, saying to Nick Caserio, hey, I got to feed my family. I need to feed my family, and I can't feed my family if I ain't getting no touches. And him being told, not by Nick Caserio specifically, but him being told by the coaching staff, hey, man, you're going to get your touches, but around here we have a system. We have a system in which we play in. We don't go outside of the system. And we'll find ways to involve you and get you touches inside of the system. But you can't come here. You ain't been here long enough yet to make those type of demands. So we know that you are a talented wide receiver, but we also know that you've caused a lot of trouble the places that you've been, and we also know that you've been on a lot of teams. Does that sound familiar? Give me a second. It's time for me to turn over the brisket. So, after the game, Joe Mixon, who is pretty cool with Diontae Johnson, had to talk to Diontae Johnson, and you could just see inside of the locker room, you're saying these guys should be celebrating. I think Aziz even had to talk to him, but he just was not happy. He's like, yo, bro, we're trying to celebrate here. We're trying to we're trying to celebrate this win, and then we're trying. Oh, there go Reverend Brooks. I gotta keep it PG-13. But we're trying to celebrate this win, and you're in here acting the way that you're acting, right? So, what did the Houston Texans do? They cut him. Could they have used him against the Kansas City Chiefs, knowing that they were without Stephon Diggs, knowing that they were without Tank Dell, knowing that they were going into another divisional round game with only Nico Collins as the wide receivers? As the wide receiver. They could have used Diontae Johnson, but by the same token, you can't come and mess up the locker room and the culture that DeMeco Ryans has set since he's been here in 2023. Because everybody knows prior to 2023, that Houston Texans locker room, that Houston Texans facility, I'm talking about the Methodist Training Center, NRG, like all of that had a black cloud over it. That thing was not good. And so you can't come in and you can't mess up what the Houston Texans are trying to do, or they'll get rid of you. If you do not fit within the culture, if you do not fit within the system, they're going to let you go. Who does that sound like? Don't worry. I'll wait. Okay, maybe y'all don't know. So, week one, I was talking to ESPN's Texans reporter, DJ Bieneme. And DJ and I, and of course, DJ had at that time. I'm not gonna front and act like I had. I'm not gonna front. Hey, DJ had way more information that I had. I had just been hearing the little rumblings, but DJ had way more information than I had, and him and I started having a conversation about C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Now, I had been hearing things as far as back as training camp, but you never know what's true and what's not. You just hear it and you take it with a grain of salt and you be like, okay. But just like I said, and y'all make sure y'all check out the Texans Cookout with Chancellor Johnson, DJ Bieneme, Jonathan Alexander from the Houston Chronicle, and myself. We just did a live show actually about this. But when I was in Detroit, which is one of the former teams of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, right? I was talking to somebody who had been around the organization for a while, and they said, hey, glad y'all got him, and we don't know more. And I was like, what are you talking about? Wait, you talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson? Yes, I'm just glad y'all have him now, and we don't. I was happy when the Eagles got him. I was happy when y'all got him. I just don't want him to circle the block and come back to the Houston Texans. I mean, to the Detroit Lions. The Houston Texans can have him. So you hear those type of things, and you just be like, I don't know. Because I don't know what the relationship that you and C.J. Gardner-Johnson had. I don't know if he, talked to your sister, or if he was messing around with your wife, or if your wife has a crush on him, or if he, I don't know what it is. So you take that with a grain of salt. But then as things start to transpire and things start to go a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, you start to say, damn, now you're putting the pieces together. Now you are putting the pieces together. So after DJ and I had a conversation in week one, I started talking to some other people, and I started to find out more. I started to find out that C.J. Gardner-Johnson had become toxic in the locker room and on the field. And when I say toxic, the Houston Texans have a locker room that there is no toxicity in there. Even if guys don't get along, they don't bring that type of stuff into the locker room. You don't hear it like that. You may know that they may not, gel with each other, but they don't bring that type of, because they know that at the drop of a dime, if D'Amico hears that, they're gone. They're out of there. Somebody got to go, because he does not want that type of toxic locker room. And so I kept hearing these things. I kept hearing these things about C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So I went and I asked, and I was told, yeah, Sarge, he ain't good. What do you mean by not good? Like, you mean like his play isn't good? It's like, no, he's just not good as a person. It's like, what do you mean by that? He's not good as a person. Like, what do you mean? It's just like, he just don't fit. He doesn't fit here. He doesn't fit our personality, and he doesn't fit our scheme, because he always tries to go outside of the scheme. Now, if you're not following DJ BNMA, TikTok family, y'all follow him too. But if you're not following DJ BNMA from ESPN, then you should, because he's a great follow. And DJ broke down plays. He broke down plays that he actually told me about, and then he broke them down and showed where C.J. Gardner-Johnson did a lot of freelancing. There was a lot of freelancing that was going on with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He wasn't playing within the system. And so when you look at, when you go back and you watch some of these plays, and you're looking at a player like Kamari Lassiter, who's used to playing in a system, and then, if you're freelancing, he hasn't played in the league long enough in order to be able to make up for what you're doing, because he doesn't know what you're doing, because he hasn't played with you. You're new to him, so he doesn't know if you're going to freelance like you're going to do. Kalen Bullock doesn't know what type of freelancing you're going to do. So if he doesn't know what type of freelancing you're going to do, then you leave him out there on the island. You leave your teammates out there on the island, all because you don't like the scheme and the fit in which you play in. One of the main things that C.J. Gardner-Johnson complained about was he didn't get to do a lot of blitzing. He didn't get to do a lot of freelancing like he wanted, like he really wanted to do. Like, he didn't have the green light to freelance. Anything that he did, any of the freelancing that he did that on his own. So there was not, hold on for a second. Hello, Crizzle. My wife has just got home. But he didn't like playing within the system. So when you're not playing within the system, you're leaving your teammates out on the island. If you know anything about D'Amico Ryans, he don't like that type of stuff. Hey, hold on. No. We're not doing that. You're not going to be able to freelance in this system like this on your own. Now, if we discuss that, then your teammates will be ready for it. But if your teammates aren't ready for it, you're leaving them out there on the island all by themselves. So, with that being said, he wanted to freelance too much, right? He wanted to freelance too much. The second thing is, hold on, let me take that out so I won't forget. The second thing is, somebody I was talking to kept saying, hey, we know you won a ring in Philly. We know. We watched the games last year as well. We seen the Super Bowl. We know that you won a Super Bowl. You do not have to keep bringing it up. You do not have to keep bringing up that you won a Super Bowl, and this is how we did it in Philly. You're constantly bringing that up about winning a Super Bowl, and you're constantly bringing up the scheme and how you did in Philly. And this ain't Philly. This is Houston. And some of the players got tired of hearing that. Like, bro, we get it. We give you your props for winning a Super Bowl. We give you your props for being on a Super Bowl winning team. But what we can't do is keep talking about it and saying, we can't keep talking about it and saying, hey, when we Philly, this is what we did. All right, cool. Philly got a whole different defensive coordinator. Philly runs a whole different type of style. Philly got a whole different set of players. I get that part. We got it. This is how you used to do it, and this is what y'all did when you was in Philly, but you're in Houston now. And so Me doing my due diligence after I found out today that he was being released by the Texans. I did some background work and started asking about his time in Philly. And come to find out, they too were happy as hell to get rid of him. They too, and they may bring him back. Who knows? They may bring him back. I don't know. They may. I don't know if this the NFL things happen like that. But come to find out, they weren't rocking with him like that either. That's why they traded him. That's why they had no issues in trading him. He was bitter about that. He was bitter about being traded to being traded in general. He thought that he was a very key part of that defense, and he could have been. I mean, I only watched a handful of Philadelphia Eagles games last year. I watched probably more than most, but you know, they weren't like jumping head over heels in order to keep him. I mean, think about it. They traded him for an offensive lineman and a pick, a 6th-round pick. And for an offensive lineman who many consider a bust. I didn't say he was a bust, but many consider him to be a bust. And that's what you got traded for. But you also got to realize that where you're going to, like, no. Is the Houston Texans ready to win a Super Bowl? Hell no. They're not. They are not ready to be Super Bowl contenders just yet. They're not. They still have a lot of work to do. And so you're not coming to a contender. But by the same token, you can't come in, popping off at the mouth and talking shit to these grown men and expect them to show you, continue to show you some type of common courtesy, which they did. But if you was who you say you was, look, in the great words, the words of the great Negro poet, the immortal Negro poet, John Legend. If you are who you say you are, a superstar, then have no fear. Like if you are who you say you are, then you wouldn't have been on the New Orleans Saints, Philadelphia Eagles, Detroit Lions, Philly again, the Houston Texans, and now without a job. C.J. Gardner-Johnson got drafted in 2019. 2019 by the New Orleans Saints. And since then, he's been on the Saints. He's been with Philly. He's been with Detroit. He's been with Philly again. And he's been with Houston. So since 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Let me just make sure that I got my numbers correct. Where is it? 7 years. In 7 years, you've been on 1, 2, 3, 4. This was your 5th team in 7 years. Now you're about to go to another team. So you're about to be 6 teams in 7 years. How are you popping off at the mouth though? And listen, do not get me wrong. I told you all in the tweet. I'm not here to take a dump on C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I'm not here to badmouth C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I'm not here to belittle or degrade or be derogatory, malicious, or salacious towards C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I'm just giving you the facts. I'm just giving you the facts. That's it. I'm giving you the facts that you came in and you acted just like Diontae Johnson. But you can't do that when you've been on multiple teams and the Houston Texans are giving you another an opportunity. You've been on multiple teams. The Houston Texans are giving you an opportunity, but you squander and you blow that opportunity because you think you are bigger than the program, bigger than the system, and you think that you're more than you are. I love C.J. Gardner-Johnson's attitude on the field. I like the fact that he's one of those guys. He got that dog mentality. But in having that dog mentality, you also got to be able to show up, and you got to be able to play. And, the NFL is football. It is a kid's game, but it's also a business. And so sometimes you're going to have to conform to where you're at. There's been a lot of times that I've been in places There's been a lot of times that I've been in places that I don't worked at a lot of places that I particularly didn't like, but I needed the damn check. And I understand that they converted your salary into a signing bonus, so you're going to get your money anyway. But what are you putting on your resume? What you're putting on your resume and what has been on your resume, and the Houston Texans still traded for you. The Houston Texans still brought you into the organization is you're not a team player. You're not a team player. You're not a great locker room guy. You teeter and totter on, doing things that could get you suspended or things that don't get you suspended. Like the Houston Texans took a chance on bringing in S.C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And, at the time, a lot of people was like, yo, he's going to be, I think he'd be good. I was even one of the ones that said, hey, look, you matching a ball hawk and S.C.J. Gardner-Johnson with another ball hawk and Kalen Bullock. And they should be able to take care of that back end as far as, taking anything out of the air that comes their way. But you also have to play within the system. Every play, you can't just go down and be in the action. You just got to play within the system. And sometimes, for the most part, he didn't play within the system. And by not playing in the system, he still your team has the same record as hold on for a second. How does it feel knowing your team has the same record as the Jets? Well, Elliott Ford, here's the funny thing about it. I don't have a team. And if you've been here long enough to know, or maybe this is your first time, so I'll grant you this grace, Elliott Ford. Elliott Ford, most of the people know my fandom is on hold. And even when I was a fan of the Dallas Cowboys for 49 years. But my fandom is currently on hold because of what Jerry Johnson did to Micah Parsons by trading him. See, Elliott Ford, this isn't just one of those Texas content creator pages. This isn't one of those aggregator lives that you've stumbled up on. What you've stumbled up on is a season, not just credential, but a seasoned credential media member who covers the Houston Texans day to day, travel, home games, off season. Like Elliott Ford, this isn't a fan. This ain't a fan arena right here. Not for me. I do this for the fans, though. I have a large conglomerate of supporters who support me. So don't say your team because I don't have a team, Elliott. Now, let me cook. Back to what I was talking about. So, you've been on multiple teams. You come in here and you think that you're better than everybody else. And then you badmouth your teammates. Like, don't nobody want to hear you criticize their play over and over and over again when you're not making any plays. So if you're not making any plays, if you're not making the plays that you're supposed to make, if you're not making an impact, how the hell are you criticizing? Because you got a Super Bowl ring? You cannot do that. And you're constantly criticizing your teammates, and you're constantly criticizing you're constantly criticizing your teammates, and you're constantly criticizing the scheme, right? And you do that, and then you sit around and you pontificate. Look at that, Elliott. You heard that? You heard that, Elliott? I said pontificate. You sit around and you pontificate on other people's contracts. You don't think that this person deserved the money that they got, that you deserve way more money, but that player who got their money don't deserve the money that they got. Why are you sticking your hands in another man's pockets? Just control what you can control. Control what you can control. And I don't have, like I said, I don't have anything personal against C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Him and I had a brief exchange one time, and not so much to the point where I could lose my credential, but by the same token, I had to let him know I'm a grown man. So I don't know how you used to talking to other media members, but there's just certain things that I'm not going to take. And I had to let him know that there's just some things that I wasn't going to take. And so, with that being said, I remember I was waiting there because he had the end locker, and next to him is Jamal Hill. Next to Jamal Hill is Kalen Bullock, and next to Kalen Bullock is Kamari Lassiter. So I'm sitting there actually waiting to talk to Kalen, and Kamari was there, and Jamal Hill was there, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson was at his locker. And so I'm sitting there and I'm just talking to them, not even talking to him. I'm never had a one-on-one conversation with him. He's one of those guys that you never know what type of answer you're going to get when you're talking to him. And so I'm talking to either Jamal or Kalen, and then he towards my direction is like, um, damn, we can, we down here naked. We can't even, damn, we down here naked, and y'all trying to talk to us. I said, well, I said, I don't talk to no men without no drawers on. So if I'm talking to them, then they got drawers on. I said, I'm old school. I'm old school, man. I don't talk to I said I don't talk to no dudes without no drawers on. That's weird to me, and I don't do that. I don't want to talk to no man with their pecker out. And then Jamal and Kayla started laughing, but I was like, "Hey, bro, I don't talk to nobody." I said, "Ask anybody in this locker room. I don't talk to them when they ain't got no clothes on. That's weird. That's not me, bro. I don't do that type stuff." And he even laughed, and then he went on. But if I don't say nothing, then he just think that it's good to say that. No, look, I do like doing my job. I do like where I'm at. I do like being able to cover this team, being able to be in the locker room and talk to the players. But there's just some shit I ain't gonna take. There's just some shit I'm not me. No, there's some shit you just not gonna be able to get away with me because I'm a grown ass man, like a grown ass man. Like this is gray hair. This ain't donut residue. I'm a grown ass man. I'm 53 years old, going on 54. I've been here since 1972. You know how long that takes to get to when you scrolling? When they had to, you got to put your birthday in there and they tell you to scroll. You know how long it take to get to 1972? No, not me, bro. You're not gonna talk to me like that. I'm cool. And if that means I can't never come back in here, then I'm good. I digress. So what C.J. Gardner-Johnson was complaining about was the exact same thing that Diontae Johnson was complaining about. Not being able to do, what they want to do in what's up, Jesus? Not being able to do what he wanted to do. Diontae Johnson wasn't allowed to freelance and do what he wanted to do in the system. And they weren't going to let him do that as well. Let me answer this question right quick. What's up, sideline Sarah? She says, was Kayla starting to act like C.J. Gardner-Johnson? No, not at all. C.J. Gardner-Johnson had and has no influence on Kalen Bullock like that. And one of the reasons why is because Kalen is his own person. He is truly his own person. He may not be as he may not be as demonstrative as Kamari is. He may not be that. I mean, he's more. He'll talk to us more than Kamari will. And Kamari is a really good interview. You go to my YouTube page, Texas Tailgate Talk, and y'all can see the exclusive interview I had with Kamari Lassiter in training camp in West Virginia. But no, Kalen is his own person. Kalen doesn't act like that. Kalen doesn't do anything like that. No, he is his own person, and he's going to do what he's going to do some yeah. And Queen asked, "What about Kamara?" No, so that's the thing. Like they respected, like I said, they respected C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They respect it, but they're their own. They're individually their own person, and they're not finna follow behind each other. They follow behind somebody else like that. Like they're their own individual person, and they hang out a lot. But following behind somebody isn't what got them to the NFL. Following behind anybody like isn't what got them to the NFL. And so no, To answer your question, no. Leaderships don't create drama; they lead. Thanks, Shane. Shane on TikTok said leaders don't create drama; they lead. Exactly. So let me get back to this. Uh, his chemistry though, his chemistry and the way that he started to carry himself started to rub a lot of his teammates the wrong way. They have much respect for him as far as the way that he plays the game with the attitude and the fervor in which he plays, but they're not one of those people they're not that team is going to allow something like that to just continue to happen. And not only that, um D'Amico Ryans is not going to allow something like that to happen. That's like just something that he's not going. There's some things that he'll allow to happen, and there's just no. And it's funny. It's funny because I y'all give me a second. I want to show y'all something. So for those of you all who are who are new here, let me tell you all something. For those of you all on TikTok that is new here, and for those of you all who are following me on X and on X and on YouTube, if you're new here, let me tell you all something. Hold on, let me cook. I'm not into breaking news, and what I mean by I'm not into breaking news, meaning that if you're coming to me in order for me to be Schefter or Ian Rappaport or Aaron Wilson or anything like that, I'm not. I'm not the breaking news type of guy. Not because I can't be, because I don't want to be. Brandon, you crazy. You are crazy. um, but I'm not the breaking news guy because I'm sorry y'all, something got me distracted. I'm not the breaking news guy because I don't want to be. Not because I can't be, but because I don't want to be. So with that being said, I'm gonna show you all something. I'm gonna show it to the Twitter family first, right? I should have sent this to myself, but I wouldn't have been able to show my TikTok family. Y'all see this? Y'all see what it says? Y'all see it says today, right? Today, 1:49 p.m. What does it say? Remember what I told you last week. And you see the response. Man, I do. Now tell me your source. Let me show it to you, TikTok family. See that? I didn't know. I didn't know that a release was coming. I just knew something was about to happen because of the things that I was being told on over the last 2 weeks. And the reason why I didn't see the release of C.J. Gardner-Johnson coming on Tuesday is because for those of you all who has followed the Houston Texans, you know something about D'Amico Ryans. And D'Amico Ryans does not like to do in-season distractions. In-season distractions, that's not his thing, right? That's not his thing. You want me to tell you how you know? Bobby Slowick was supposed to be gone way before the end of the season, right? Way before, way before the end of the season. He was supposed to be gone. D'Amico's like, nope, he didn't want the distractions. Chris Strausser, former offensive line coach of the Houston Texans, was supposed to be gone a long time ago last season. Matter of fact, both of those probably should have left at the same time. Probably should have been fired at the same time. There was a lot of chatter about wanting both of them to be fired at the same time, but D'Amico doesn't do in-season distractions. And so I knew that it was getting bad. And I'm saying to myself, okay, if they're going to do something about him, if they're going to do something about C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I figured that it wasn't going to happen until the bye week, which is week 6. So they have the Titans this week in week 4, and then they travel to Baltimore, play the Baltimore Ravens and in week 5, and then they have the bye week. So I was saying to myself, CJ Gardner-Johnson is on borrowed time. And by him being on borrowed time, that means that they're probably going to get rid of him by week 6 during the bye week. So no, I'm not. Listen, y'all know I keep it 100 right here on the Texans Happy Hour. I keep it 100 right here. I did not expect today to happen. I did not expect for CJ Gardner-Johnson to be released. I just knew that something was going to happen, and I just figured that it was going to happen by the bye week. Is the reason why I told, which is the reason why I told the person that I told last week, hey, something ain't right. Something ain't right. The chatter is a lot. The chatter is a lot, and there's too much being said about this one particular player. Something ain't right. And I don't think he. So, what I told that person was, hey, I don't think he's going to make it past the bye week. I don't think he's going to make it past the bye week. And I definitely don't see him making it throughout the season. There's one thing that I do know about the Houston Texans organization is they'll pay to make problems go away. They will pay to make problems go away. I digress. CJ Gardner-Johnson wasn't going to be good for this team. So now you ask, well, where do we go from here, Sarge? Where do we go from here? So I see MJ Stewart being inserted into the lineup until Jimmy Ward gets healthy enough to come back to play, until rookie Jalen Reed. And that's why I put out the video that I did earlier about rookie Jalen Reed being I'm scared for our season. The reason why I put out what I said about Jalen Reed was because he was having a damn good camp before he got hurt. Like, he was having a really good camp before he hurt his ankle, if I'm not mistaken. But he's up. He let me see where my paperwork. What number was he at first? 34. Yeah, he's 6 feet, 212 pounds. He is a big safety who plays like a downhill linebacker. So he can come down and help you out in the run game, but he also is a very good back end safety. And so I could see him getting a lot more run. Jimmy Ward probably is definitely going to be inserted back into the lineup once he starting lineup, once he can get himself back, get himself healthy. You know, now that he doesn't have those legal troubles hanging over his head anymore, but he can get back in and get himself back into football shape. And then you should be able to see this, see some reminiscence of what the Houston Texans have been the last 2 seasons. And, there's been some small hiccups on that defense side of the ball, but by the same token, that defense has played well. And so when you look at it, you can tell that at this point, D'Amico is like, well, it's early enough in the season for it not to really, mess with the chemistry. We have really good, and we have a player here in MJ Stewart who knows the system. Now, is MJ Stewart the same player as CJ Gardner-Johnson? Probably not. He's probably not as talented as CJ Gardner-Johnson. But what MJ Stewart does is he plays within the system. And I said this in the preseason. He had a game where he did not look good. Like, I forgot which one it was. It could have been the Vikings game, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the Vikings game that he did not look good. It was the Vikings game because they were leaving Greenbrier to go play the Vikings. And so he didn't look good in that game, but he also didn't have the full front seven there in the front, right? I mean, the full front seven. And so, hold on. Who said this? Shane, what's up, Shane? Remember, this Johnson was booted out of New Orleans and Philly. He probably won't be picked ASAP. Yeah, that's exactly what I said earlier. He's been on 5 teams in 7 years. And so but MJ Stewart can be can give you some of what you need as long as you can keep that healthy front seven going, because when that front seven gets that amount of pressure or plays the way that it's supposed to play, then your back end can do what it needs to do as well. A lot of times you see some of the safeties who, may not be like a Kyle Hamilton, or some of the others who are some very good safeties in the league. They don't really need that front seven pressure in order for them to be successful. But a player like MJ Stewart needs that front seven to be successful. To be successful in order for him to do what he needs to do on the back end. So I can see MJ Stewart playing until Jimmy Ward gets healthy, until that's crazy. Until Jimmy Ward gets healthy, until oh, this is funny. And until Jalen Reed comes back. Let me see if I got anything else in my notes. Freelanced a lot, constantly kept bad mouthing teammates, reminded me of Diontae Johnson. C.J. Gardner-Johnson complained about the scheme. Johnson felt that the play of his, so the C.J. Gardner-Johnson relationship in the locker room soured quickly. Chemistry affected the young players. Release statistics. So, I mean, that's a good 45 minutes of you got that BTJ play, got that man released. Do you think they should pick up Justice Simmons? That is a good question. On TikTok Live, Pro just asked a question about, do I think that they should pick up Justin Simmons? Yes. That's something that I'll get into a little bit later on. Now, another thing that I want to touch on before I got up off this, before I leave the happy hour. Probably one of the happiest people in the Houston Texans organization on Tuesday was Nick Caley. But unfortunately, you got some media members like myself that is not going to allow this C.J. Gardner-Johnson release to be a distraction from what's really, really plaguing the Houston Texans right now. And that's that offense. That offense has been lethargic. That offense has been putrid. That offense, like, there's sometimes that you could say, they play well in spurts, but they haven't even been in spurts. Sarge, can you confirm that Joe Mixon is in Houston rehabbing? I can't solidly confirm that, Doc. I can't confirm that all the way, but if you ask me tomorrow after I leave the facility, I'll be able to have another answer for you. So, I rock with the man to the Jags. You official. I rock with you. Come to the Jags. But so Nick Caley's offense is still only averaging 13 points. Is still only averaging 13 points a game. 13 points. And when you look at that, you've got to keep saying to yourself, something has to give. Something has to give. And like I told you all earlier, I know that D'Amico Ryans does not like to make in-season, does not like to create in-season distractions. But D'Amico, come on over here come on over here, because Sarge is, we got Sarge on the grill. Sarge on the grill today. Come on over here, D'Amico. Stand next to me and let me tell you something. Now, old men, when they on the grill, when the old man is on the grill, all they want to do is talk, right? All they want to do is talk and drink. They want to talk and drink. And look, don't let them fool you because they got reverend by their name or pastor by their name. All they want to do is cook and drink. So, D'Amico, come on over here while we grilling at the happy hour today, D'Amico. We grilling at the happy hour today. So come on over here and talk to me for a second. Come on. So look now. Listen to Sarge and listen to Sarge well. I know that doing stuff in season that causes any type of that causes more media to focus on your team as far as focusing on the negative is something that you don't like. I got that part. But by the same token, hold on for a second. Had turned chicken over. By the same token, you can't afford to let this season play out and it be a disaster under Nick Caley and his system. Because I told you once, I told you twice, I told you like 13 other times. Bobby Slowick took all of the first-year offensive coordinator excuses. They're all gone. Nobody wants to hear them. Nobody wants to hear, hey, we got to give a first-time play caller time to get adjusted and time to get adapted to calling these plays. You ain't got time. There is no time. Bobby took all of that. You're playing a dangerous game. And I get it. You've bet on yourself a lot. As a kid coming out of Bessemer, Alabama, right? That population and the environment is rich in love, but it is a poverty-stricken city, right? It's rich in love. Like, it's very rich in love, but it's a poverty-stricken city. And you took yourself from Bessemer, Alabama, to the University of Alabama, to the NFL as far as a player. Now you've taken yourself to the coaching ranks, and now you're a head coach. The next thing for you is general manager after coaching, if you're successful coaching. But you'll never get to know that if you allow, or if this Texans offense can't get going. I'm going to be honest with you. If this Houston Texans team can't reel off at least 5 to 6 wins in a row after the Baltimore Ravens game, because I don't think that they could beat the Baltimore Ravens. So after that Baltimore Ravens game, coming out of that bye week, you got to win 5 in a row. Because if you don't win 5 in a row and your offense continues to look like this, you won't be looking for a job. But you're also not going to want to have those hard conversations and explaining why Nick Caley can't get it done. Because one of the things that I do know about the McNairs, they love to win. They love to win. They love to be successful. And even though they try to block out as much noise as they can from the outside, they hear it. They hear it. And if the fans, if you're putting a bad product on the field and the fans continuously destroy you on social media and on social media, on the YouTube pages, on the radio airwaves, like in the Reddit, they ain't gonna stand for that too highly. They not gonna stand for that too highly. They're gonna be like, wait a minute, hold on. Y'all wanted this guy. gave you all this guy. Now, we all know Nick Caley wasn't the first choice, right? We know that Nick Caley wasn't the first choice. But you had to go out and get an experienced play caller. And you cannot do that. I'm sorry. You cannot put your third-year quarterback in a situation to whereas he's learning a new offense all over again. And then he's learning a lethargic old New England offense. Like, where's the offense? Where's the offense that the Rams? Where's the offense that the Rams run? Where's that one? We talked about that the other day. So, D'Amico, hold on for a second. Gotta fix the ribs and the sausage. You're on borrowed time. You're on borrowed time. So hold on for a second. I think this is my guy. I think this is Arlington. Arlington, let me tell you something. For those of y'all watching on TikTok, he says, so this is on Nick Caserio and not D'Amico. Actually, it's on both of them. Because D'Amico Ryans has a lot of power inside the Texans organization. And there's no possible way that only Nick Caserio can sign off on Nick Caley as the offensive coordinator. Although he is the general manager, he has to make the hire. But if D'Amico doesn't sign off on that, if D'Amico doesn't sign off on Nick Caley doesn't get hired. That's how that thing works. That's exactly how that thing works. Ain't no way that you're going to get an offensive coordinator and just say, hey, let me put it like this. I think it was Vic Fangio. It was some others, but I think it was Vic Fangio when he got hired by the Denver Broncos. This is when John Elway was still like general manager, president, or whatever he was. They told Vic Fangio, hey, we'll hire you as a head coach. We'll hire you as a head coach. What you can't do is pick your own staff. Wait a minute. Hold on. Come again. Say what? Yeah, we'll give you the job as head coach, but you cannot pick your staff. We're going to pick your staff for you. And so, with that being said, that ain't the situation here in Houston, Arlington. I'm going to tell you that. I know that for without a shadow of a doubt. There's no possible way that Nick Caserio can just throw an offensive coordinator onto D'Amico Ryans and he just be like, all right. The Houston Texans job wasn't a job that D'Amico Ryans needed. It was the job he chose. Okay, let me say that again for the people in the back. Y'all know what? I should be taking up offering at this and while I'm grilling. I should be taking up offering while I'm cooking. I'm over here. Let me cook. D'Amico Ryans chose the Houston Texans. It wasn't he didn't need to take this job. Like, he didn't need to take the Houston Texans job because he needed a head coaching job. He chose. He had other options, but he chose the Houston Texans. And so ain't no way that none of that's about to happen. None of that. Do you think Gerard Johnson would be a good replacement? I do. I think he should have gotten a chance early. Can the New York Giants hurry up and fire Dable so the Texans can hire him as OC? I think that he'll be a great OC. And I think that him and D'Amico Ryans would butt heads in a good way. I think that D'Amico Ryans would really, really like that. Yes, you're right. Arlington Caley is a Patriots guy, just like Caserio was. Yeah, just like Caserio was, just like Cole Popovich was, just like one or two other people throughout the organization. But that don't mean that Caserio can just hire Nick Caley and D'Amico. Now, they may have negotiated something. They may have negotiated a way for it to get him in there, but no, that's not. Joseph says, the thing I like about D'Amico is he's not blind. He let Bobby go 2 seasons, and D'Amico will make the hard choice because he loves winning more than anything. That he does. Two bald-headed coaches will cook. Is that 3 Mile? I don't know how to, but on TikTok, he said two bald-headed coaches will cook, talking about Dable and D'Amico Ryans. So this is interesting. I'm glad. And now we're at the portion so if you all are tuning in to hear me talk about C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you're gonna have to rewind and go back to the beginning of the show. I gave a really good 45 minutes, almost to an hour, about C.J. Gardner-Johnson and one of the reasons why the Houston Texans released him on Tuesday. It was coming. There was no way to avoid it. Either they were going to release him or he was going to get his playing time reduced. And if he got his playing time reduced, and that's according to Jonathan M. Alexander from the Houston Chronicle. He said that on the Texans Cookout show that we did earlier. But he was going to get his he was either going to get his either released or his playing time reduced. And so in order for him not to blow up, they just went ahead and released him. So Cornbread makes a really good a really good take, right? This is a really good take, Cornbread. And I appreciate you being on the show. He says Nick Caserio got to go too, Sarge, not just D'Amico. So I don't think that D'Amico should go. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think D'Amico should go. If the Houston Texans season doesn't play out, I think that D'Amico Ryans has done enough, right? Hold on for a second. I think that if this season doesn't play out the way that the Houston Texans envisioned that it would to start the season, if they have a disastrous season, let's just say they go 6-11, right? If they go 6-11, right, that's going to be a terrible season. But what D'Amico Ryans has done is he's bought himself enough time to be able to have a bad season. He's bought himself enough time to have 2 bad seasons, actually. But Nick Caserio has not. Now, I'm not saying that they would get rid of Nick Caserio, but they'd have to have a come to Jesus meeting with him. And, because they're paying Nick a lot of money. Nick is not only the general manager, he's the executive vice president. And if it doesn't play out the way, so here's the thing. D'Amico Ryans, C.J. Stroud, and Will Anderson Jr. Remember that. I'll tell you these 3 names. D'Amico Ryans, C.J. Stroud, and Will Anderson Jr. With the success that they had in the first 2 years of them being with the Houston Texans, that saved Nick Caserio's job. That extended his time. Their success extended his time. And let me tell you why. Because the way that the organization was going, and don't get me wrong, Nick Caserio inherited a mess, right? He inherited a mess, right? And he cleaned it up for the most part. But, it's like when you clean up your house, you clean up the living room, but your bedroom is filthy. Or you clean up your bedroom and your bathroom and the guest bathroom is dirty. Or you clean up the bedrooms, you clean up the bathroom, you clean up the living room, but your kitchen is filthy. And so Nick Caserio has never gotten to the point where the whole house is clean. If you can understand what I mean by that. He hasn't gotten to the point to where the entire house is clean. And coming out of that Lovie Smith season, that press conference that they had to announce that they had fired him, that was the first time that I've ever seen Nick Caserio that humble. For the most part, he is full of energy, full of big words, full of, just different types of acronyms, different types of things. He just goes. He talks. But this time, Wasn't all that talking. He answered the question in a humble tone. And at that press conference was Kyle McNair sitting in the front and Hannah McNair. And Hannah McNair was looking Nick Caserio directly in his eyes as he answered every question. That let me know that between his humble tone and the way that Hannah was looking at him, that let me know, hey, bruh, you on borrowed time, especially coming out of, David Culley, which you hired. Well, especially coming out of Lovie Smith, who you hired. If you don't get this next hire right, you're out of here, my boy. Right? And so, what does he do? He goes out and they make a run at D'Amico Ryans. They get D'Amico. They got the second pick in the draft. They know that if they don't get C.J. Stroud, I mean, if they don't, if the Carolina Panthers take C.J. Stroud, they're going to take Bryce Young and vice versa. And you see how it worked out. C.J. ended up here, and then they made the blockbuster deal with the number 3 pick to go out and get Will Anderson Jr. and bring him in here. And so then they had the success they had in 2023. They had the success they had in 2024. And that kind of pushed his timeline of being let go from the Houston Texans back a little bit. But he also still had to work on making this team not only just AFC South contenders, but AFC contenders. Meaning, hey, you got to get us to this championship game at least. We ain't even talking about the Super Bowl yet, but get us to this championship game. And in 2024, that offensive line looked horrible. And he's also responsible for going out and getting the talent. Go out and getting the talent, and him and D'Amico discussed it about bringing it in. But we know that the Houston Texans had one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL and had a terrible offense. Has anything changed in the first 3 games? Are we still talking about the offense? Are we still talking about the offensive line? Are we still talking about how lethargic that offense is? We are. Nick Caserio went out and did not improve this offensive line. Nick Caserio was part of bringing in Nick Caley, even though it was a joint effort, but still. So, Cornbread, Nick Caserio will be gone before D'Amico Ryans go. It's just Big Sarge's opinion. Hold on for a second. I got to tend to the grill. All right. Let me see what else we got. Sarge, Nick would have went up in the draft instead of backwards. I don't understand what that means. Hold on. Let me read some of these because both of them not going nowhere. Stubbs, I don't know why you think that. Bro cooking ribs. I don't know why you think that, Stubbs. Hold on. I believe they use the Band-Aid mentality for the O-line. They have key free agents this offseason. Hey, I like that, Benjamin. Welcome to the show. Damn right. Miss Grace 2U2X says, go Broncos. Hey, I like the Broncos. I mean, they got a lot of issues too now. Hold on. Bo Nix don't look like he should be looking. And that defense, because I had him as my fantasy football defense, Miss hold on, let me make sure I got your name right. Miss Grace 2U2X. That defense, I thought they were going to be really good, but Jay White, yes, C.J. Gardner-Johnson is gone. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is gone. But we're going to beat y'all. You mean beat the Texans? I'm not a Texans fan, but if you think that they're going to beat the Texans, I just guess you got to wait and see. I mean, you couldn't beat the Colts. I watched how you lost to the Chargers. Texans beat both of those teams. Oh, that one hurt. What I'm trying to say, Sarge, Nick should have went up in the draft for an interior offensive lineman. Oh, you mean last year? what was CJ contract looking like? That contract gonna be big. He got cut water with them reels. All right, let me get back to some of these. Can't be cooking if tongs aren't greasy. This is a good one. Big Sarge, how do we get back to trying to be the Patriots on offense? I thought those days were over with Bob. Hey, look, Cap Insane 0713. Welcome to the show. Hey, I did too. Now, here's the thing. I did ask Nick Haley and I asked Jalen Noel about using Noel like they did in New England, like how they used Amendola and how they used Edelman and how they used Wes Welker. But I didn't think that they were going to use him. I wasn't asking how he was going to use him as far as the Patriot system was concerned. I was like asking, like, hey man, if you watch these guys, or Nick, how are you going to use him? Because I was just using some successful slot receivers that Nick Haley had been around, not or had seen in that system, not use the Patriot system. Because look, I said this before, I'll say it again. The biggest bullshit that they could have ever sold you out of New England was the Patriots way. That's the biggest crock of shit that has ever been sold out of Foxborough. The biggest crock of crap was the Patriots way. You should have just said, we're lucky that we have a quarterback, a Hall of Fame first ballot quarterback, the GOAT in Tom Brady. Hey, what is the Patriots way? Tom Brady. Well, what about Bill Belichick being this great defensive mind and Josh McDaniels being this great offensive mind? Oh, that's cool. But you got to say that after you say Tom Brady. Well, Tom Brady? Everything that they would have asked me about the New England Patriots, period. Not just the offense, in general. Hey, so how do you feel like the defense is playing, Tom Brady? No. We're not talking about the offense. I'm talking about the defense. Yeah, I know. Tom Brady. Well, I mean, the defense has really come through, and Bill Belichick has really put the defense in position and where they need to be. Sure. Tom Brady. Every answer I would have given would have been Tom Brady. I gotta flip the ribs. My bad. The real. Wait, who was that? The real. Hold on. The real touche. And Brady took pay cuts to sign players. He did. But it was there ain't no such thing as the Patriots way. You can't recreate the Patriots way unless they've cloned Tom Brady when he played at New England. Like, if you're going to clone Tom Brady, you're going to have to go in those years that he was with the Patriots and say, we need from here to here. That's all we need him to know. We don't need him to know nothing else. Just these years from here to here. Because that is it. That is it. That's the Patriots way. So we can talk about, Josh McDaniels' offense. We can talk about the great, what is it, Skarnecki? Is that his name? Skarnecki was the offensive line coach. We can talk about him. But it's Tom Brady. Brian Dable is a New England guy too. Patriots way, because here got to go. Angel Torres says, I don't understand why they keep trying to promote coaching from within if nothing is changing. Facts. I miss Kubiak's offense. Hold on. So let me make sure that I see who says this. Play the score. Hey, you know what's so crazy about that? Play the score on TikTok says that he misses Kubiak's offense. You know what's so crazy about that? Why? Because there was no audibling in Kubiak's offense, which is what you had with Bobby Slowick for the last 2 seasons. You want to go back to no audibling? Ask Matt Schaub how he felt about the Kubiak offense when he wasn't able to audible. Wasn't no audible. Run the play that I call. If that don't work, then run the next play that I call. That's how that worked. Casero hasn't been able to put together a stable offensive line since he's been here. Facts. As a matter of fact, I mean, it's crazy because Kenyon Green, one of the picks by Caserio, was released by the Philadelphia Eagles on today, the same day that C.J. Gardner-Johnson got released. I want an OC to be creative or aggressive. Yes, exactly, Brandon. I'm getting tired of the fire Miko narrative already. Damn, y'all. What's up, Alexis? Caserio got a 2-year extension also. Yeah, but like I said earlier, the McNair's is not above spending money to get rid of people. Caserio and his vest have to ship. Kevin Stefanski, too. He would be a good hire. Yeah. You're right. You're right. Arlington, D'Amico's first season wasn't supposed to be successful. And we talked about that. We talked about that during the offseason. I talked about that on the show the other day. D'Amico Ryans is a victim of his own success. He is a victim of his own success because the vernacular and the language that they're using right now in year 3 after the first 3 games of we should be able to finish. We should be able to finish. We got to finish. We got to win these games. We got to finish. That's year 1. That's year 1. First year head coach vernacular. That's that. Hey, we're teaching our team how to be more successful. In order to do that, they have to finish and win these games. That's not year 3 vernacular. And it can't be year 3 rhetoric or vernacular when in year 1 and 2 you've been so successful. You've had the success that you had. Now you're in year 3 saying we don't know how to finish. Well, in year 1 and year 2, you knew how to finish. What changed? What happened? Why are we going to hey, the real, hey, you right, man. You right. Hey, look, no, they good. They Cajun ribs. But yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't. The year 3 vernacular is not what was supposed to happen. All right. Would they elevate a assistant GM or something? Hey, somebody asked me about I want to know why CJ is wearing a dang Yankees hat at a press conference. Oh, come on, Nobles. So I can't pronounce that last part. Are we still talking about the Yankee hat? The Yankee hat. Childish, I don't know who can Childish, I can't remember, but you asked who can they trade for? Who can they trade for to get an interior offensive lineman? In order to get a good interior offensive lineman, they're gonna have to give up something, some talent, because everybody needs and is looking for good talent. I'm not getting into the hat thing again because that's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Why are we talking about the hat still? Hey, if we keeping it a buck, hold on, let me write this down. Hey, we keeping this a buck. I ain't gonna even lie. I hope CJ show up in a Washington Nationals hat for Sunday's game just to piss y'all off. I hope he come in a Washington National hat. Then after that, wear an Atlanta Braves hat. And then after that, wear a Padres hat. Then after that, wear a Red Sox hat. Then after that, wear an A's hat. Then after that, wear a Texas Rangers hat. Then after that, wear a Toronto Blue Jays hat. So y'all can stay mad about a hat. We talking about the offense and how it needs to get going. But nobody cares about it. But a lot of y'all are like, no, we don't give a damn about that. Why does he have on a Yankees hat? Hell, it don't matter. He could have showed up dressed as, hold on for a second. Hey, Chrissy, is what's the Astros mascot is named Orbit? Thank you. My wife. I love her to death. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna clip this up. Hey, CJ Stroud could have showed up dressed as Orbit to this last game in Jacksonville. He could have showed up dressed like Orbit, and that wouldn't have done shit for the Houston Astros. They still would have got swept by the Mariners. Like y'all think because he wore a Yankees hat that mean that they can't win? Like, oh damn, we can't win because CJ until CJ wears a Houston Astros hat, we're not gonna win. Shit. Like I said, if I'm CJ, I'm dressing up as Orbit and coming to the game. So some of y'all could be like, oh, there goes CJ. He loves the Houston Astros. Dude, y'all are so weird to me. And not only that, like the New York Yankee hat is still a fashion statement. Everybody still wears Yankee fitted. Hey, so I said Turo from the Rockets. Turbo. Hell, Turbo from the Rockets. All right. Let's see. Queena says, I agree. I think D'Amico got a minimum of 2 years of losing season, one for nostalgia and one for his success. Not necessarily in that order. Yep. Missing on the O-line the past few years in the draft that really hurt them. Yep. Casario's full of word suit. Later, Nick said he was on thin ice after CJ's rookie season. Yep. But I'm here just to listen. Doesn't D'Amico and Nick always say it's a collaborative effort on building their team? It is. Yes, it is. But D'Amico can't go out and scout the talent and run a team. So when he goes out and they get these players, some of the players aren't, some of the things that they have is not on D'Amico. And some of the things Nick Haley just has the power to, Nick Caserio has the power to be able to do. He was able to shift the blame to Bobby and Chris last year as well, so he wasn't the main culprit. Who, Tay? Who wasn't the main culprit? Sideline Sarah says, firing D'Amico and Caserio for one bad season is extreme as fuck for what they've done and what Caserio had to go through when he got here. Okay, sir. And I hear what you're saying. I do. But let me ask you a question. The offensive line looked bad in 2024. They've started out looking bad, and unless they can get it together, they're going to end the season in the bottom of the NFL again. So, and you've seen that that there hasn't been a good offensive line in the city of Houston in a long time. So what you're saying is that you're trusting Nick Caserio to help build the line for 2026? I'm just asking. Yep. Ravens have the highest paid defense and are number 32 in the league. I bet their GM doesn't get fired. Okay. So when you look at that, right? I don't think the Colts are going to win the AFC South. I think that they're just overachieving right now. That's from TikTok. Sarah. So we're going to use the Ravens, right? Even with them giving up 275, I think they gave up 275 yards rushing to the Lions. Even with them allowing the Buffalo Bills to come back. At the end of the season, who do you think is going to have a better chance of reaching the Super Bowl? The Ravens or the Texans? Who's had better success over the last couple of years? The Ravens or the Texans? Like, I don't think that Nick Caserio has done the job that the Ravens general manager has. Gardner-Johnson was pocket watching Petrie. Texas got only 3 shook. We don't know who to point the finger at. So yeah, I just don't agree with that one, Sarah. And y'all know I respect Sarah to the utmost. Derek, you're right. In the famous words of Marvin Gaye, what's going on with the Houston sports this week? Whoa. Yep. You sound a little too cheerful in your disassociation from the Texans fandom. Have you ever heard me? Have you heard my cheerful glee about being disassociated with the Dallas Cowboys? Do you hear that the Jaguars' game plan was to rush for and drop everything else back? I think that CJ spoke on it about. I think CJ spoke about them playing too high, and a lot of teams playing them too high. But yeah, and who has that? Christian Sandoval, Saldivar, excuse me. Yeah, that's what a lot of teams are doing to the Houston Texans, and you know why they're doing that to the Houston Texans? Because of the route concepts. They just put bodies in spots, and the Texans wide receivers, the route concepts is going to require them to be next to each other anyway. So I can put one person in one spot, and he can play two wide receivers. He can play two wide. He can play two wide receivers in one spot. Will we also have a Rockets happy hour when the season begins? Oh, that is good, Mr. Positivity. That is good. Will we have a Rockets happy hour? Get back to me on that. The receivers are coming off the ball very sluggish, like they know the play isn't going to work. Hey, Thomas too raw. Yeah, yeah. Do you think Higgins and Noel get more game day reps this week? Hell yeah, because if they don't, then somebody gonna have to answer to D'Amico. What's the likelihood of offensive line move at the trade deadline? For who though, Dakota? Who they gonna get? Who's gonna be giving up their offensive lineman? Thank the Lord, Big Sarge. All fans want that. Since we're talking about the Patriots, what about Cole Popovich, who coached the Patriots? You think he's here to stay? We're gonna see. That offensive line can't get together. Have you seen UNC this season? That looks like the Texans offense like booty. Yep, and his great granddaughter's right there on the sideline and cheer him on. There was no Patriots way. There was the GOAT. Mellow Mike, Jonathan Hall says Nick Casario has capped out of his potential. Yep. You speak of the offensive line. Let me put this up. What's up, Joseph? You speak of the offensive line and Nick failing to acquire talent, but they drafted college talent. So where do you draw the 50-50 line with the organization as far as them drafting bad players and them not being able to develop talent? Where do I draw the 50-50 line? I mean, Joseph, I can't put it any better than what you just said. You said it all right there. There's nothing else to be said. It isn't. You gotta, develop Jared Patterson. You got to develop Juice Scruggs. You couldn't develop Kenyon Green. You got to try to develop Ariante Ursery. Like, there's a lot of things that's going on. You dressed up like you cooking tonight. What is the recipe for tonight's show? Hey, man, look. Hey, I've been on that grill, man. If you missed it, I was cooking earlier about S C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I was cooking early when I was talking to D'Amico Ryans when we was on the grill, man. I was talking to him all. Speaking of the offensive line, the ribs. Time to move to Neil while he still has value. It's the only way to acquire a good lineman. King Midas says that he wants to give up on Danielle Hunter for a good offensive lineman. So who you gonna put over there? If you give up Danielle Hunter, who are you putting in his place? Like, that's a great 1-2 tandem. Who? Because the only people I can think of, you're gonna put Dylan Horton over there. Are you gonna put Daryl Taylor over there? When Danico Autry comes back, are you gonna put him there? Like, you gonna put Derek Barnett there? Like, nah, I wouldn't. Daryl Taylor has showed the potential to be a high pressure guy. That is true, but he was also a healthy scratch in Jacksonville against Jacksonville. Like, I think that he's a great talent. Like, I think that his potential to be great is right there, but he was also a healthy scratch against Jacksonville. Like, those type of guys, I mean, you can't be a healthy scratch. Let me get to some of that. With the Popovich name, I expect a championship caliber offensive line. Sarah, now you're preaching to the choir. Hey, cook with me, Sarah. Look, I'm on the grill. You gotta get on the sides, right? You gotta get the sides though. I'm on the grill. You can get the mac and cheese and the baked beans and the potato salad and the pickles and the jalapenos and the bread and all that. If you work the sides, let me work this grill. Let me cook. Sarah, I have been saying that for I don't know how long. I just said that during halftime of the Jacksonville Jaguars game on Sunday. I just said, hey, man, we can't keep giving a pass to Ben. It's out there on social media. Go to my page. You'll see it. You can't keep giving a pass to wide receivers. Now, if Ben McDaniels was just a wide receivers coach, I'd be like, all right. Okay, I might give you a pass. But he's the passing game coordinator. And what does the passing game look like, Sarah? Not me, not Sarge. Not Sarge. Sarge ain't been to the point where he said, give Ben McDaniels a pass. What I've said is, you got rid of Bobby Sloyd, but the route concepts still look the same. You got rid of Bobby Sloyd, but the route concepts still look the same. Let me cook. All right. What else we got? Mellow Mike, what's up? Sorry, the situation is similar to the end of Tony Dungy's run. They traded for Gruden because Bruce Allen and Dungy couldn't fix the offense. Same situation here. So, hey, Mellow Mike, that is a great freaking take. I'm going to read that again for my TikTok family. This situation is similar to the end of Tony Dungy's run. They traded for Gruden because Bruce Allen and Dungy couldn't fix the offense. Sheesh. Let him cook. Jay Singer, your honest opinion, what do you think they need to do at this point? So what I think that they need to do is, hey, look, you're 0-3. You can only go up from here, right? You know what you're going to get on the defensive side of the ball. Cool. Let's focus on the offense. And by focusing on the offense, you've got, listen, C.J. is a very good quarterback. I said this on the Texans cookout. They said, what percentage do you give the Texans to still be able to make the playoffs? I said 50 to 55%. And they looked at me like I was crazy. And I said the reason why I say that because as long as C.J. Stroud is as long as C.J. Stroud is in the game, I believe that the Houston Texans can turn it around. If he's put in the right situation, and I know people are going to say, well, sorry, that's everybody. You got to be put in the right situation. Yeah, you're right. But talking about a quarterback that's been in the league 8 years being in the right situation and a third year being in the right situation, like you can't burn out your franchise quarterback in year 3. By year 8, year 9, if he hasn't figured it out, let me give you a prime example. What they're saying about Dak Prescott right now, the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, is what they've said about him his whole career. And how long Dak been in? Even if you take away the injuries, how many snaps has Dak played? How long has Dak been in the league? They paid him very handsomely. But the same things that they were talking about, the same the same things that Dak hasn't overcome in his first 3 years in the league, he's still struggling with right now. He still struggles with downfield accuracy. He still struggles with throwing wide receivers open. There's a lot of things. And so you don't want your third year quarterback to have to continuously be under duress, be under pressure. You want him to build. You want him to get better. You want him to be where you need him to grow and to flourish. And so in order to do that, that means you got to look, you may not have to fire Nick Caley, but relieve him of some of his duties. They say bring in somebody that's going to be able to help him to do these things. Like if you got Gerard Johnson right there, hey, make Gerard Johnson a co-OC and him and they work together, because at this point, all he's doing now is just helping CJ get better. Right. But what if he has what if he has an opportunity to be able to it has an opportunity to call some of the plays? What if his offensive, some of the offensive things that he wants to do will help, open up that offense? So that's what I think. Uh, yes, you look at Detroit; they retool their O line every year. Hell, your cornbread. When I was in at that joint practice between the Houston Texans and Detroit Lions, I told you all. I said, "Hey, man, these guys ain't they ain't missing a beat. They not missing a beat." Well, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, that's off here. A bad hombre. What's the T? Need you to jump into Tasha K mode and spill the tea. Well, Tony Yayo, you're late. I already did it. I've been on this thing an hour and 35 minutes. You asked us 8 minutes ago. You need the tea. You got to rewind the show because that's doing a disservice to the people that have been here the whole time and they just, want. I'm doing this. If we beat the Titans this week, we'll have the same record as either the Ravens or Chiefs, depending on who loses. Let's see. Just gonna keep on moving. All right, y'all. I'm about to get up out of here because I can smell my wife just got through cooking, and I can smell it, and it's great. How about Bill Lazor called the game? Wasn't Bill? No, and no. Okay, Mellow Mike, you was good, but now maybe if our guys practice plays better than all that stupid little celebration, dancing, greetings, concentrate on actual playing. Just saying. All right. Titans made a play calling change. Texans need to do something. Exactly. David Mulugeta gonna want 70 million. We can't pay Stroud. Hey, think about it like this. You also got to pay Will. That was dumb not to demote him or replace Ben McDaniels. Exactly. I agree with that, sir. I agree with that. H-Town Tony said they let go of C.J. Gardner. Yeah, but the offensive line coach ain't being disruptive in the locker room either. All right. Appreciate that. Great show. Fine. Check out Coach Chan out. All right, Coach. Hey, look, TikTok family. I appreciate it. I'm gonna talk to y'all in 2 and 2. I got something special coming for y'all. So y'all already know I look out for y'all. Okay. So check this out before I get ready to get up out of here. I want to say this to y'all because not only are we streaming live on YouTube, I'm sorry, TikTok. Not only are we streaming live, let me take this thing though. Give me a second. Because I'm done. But hey, look, this apron gonna stay here with me. All right, this apron gonna stay here with me. Let me change my hats. Y'all ain't gonna get mad if I change hats, are you? I need to brush my hair, but sorry, still got a hairline though. All right. Let me put a hat on. Okay. 138. Before I get ready to get up out of here. So not only are we streaming live on Twitter, we're also streaming live on YouTube with the at the Texas Tailgate Talk channel, but we're also streaming live on Big Sarge Media. And so that Texas Tailgate Talk, you all know, is strictly for Texans fans and it's strictly for Texans talk. But the fact that I do stream on YouTube under Big Sarge Media, and the fact that I stream on my Twitter page, Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, there's a lot of people who not only follow the Texas Tailgate Talk page, but they also thumbs up, please, folks, before you leave. Appreciate that. So the people who follow me on my Twitter page and Big Sarge Media YouTube page, those individuals are also just sports fans. And so they also like to hear me talk about the NFL. They like to hear me talk about the NBA. We may talk some Major League Baseball, some WNBA. Shout out to Asia Wilson for winning her fourth WNBA MVP. She is the GOAT of the WNBA. My wife is probably getting ready to watch their game in just a second. So, with that being said, right, with that being said, about, and if you're just here for Texans talk, then I appreciate your time and your support. And, if you want to leave, then I get it. Queen of the Cowboys hat, the cowboy hat is right over there. I'm going to start wearing it again, but I like to mix it up a little bit because, we're in the new management. Put on a Mariners hat. I don't have a Mariners hat. I got a lot of hats, but I don't have. I mean, I do have Yankees hats and all that, but then I promote myself. That's just me. So, but with that being said, the Aces thrashed by the Fever in Game 1. Yeah, I think that was a hangover at Arlington because of the whole celebration of the Asia Wilson getting the MVP. I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think that the Fever can beat them in a 5-game series. The Aces was one of the hottest teams in the WNBA. I think they ended. I think that loss to the Fever actually ended their 17-game winning streak that they had. So with that being said, before I get up out of here, right? Before I get up out of here, I also want to talk about this. Like, thoughts and prayers go out to Houston Rockets point guard Fred VanVleet. For those of you all who don't know, not only am I seasoned credential media member that covers the Houston Texans, but I'm also a seasoned credential media member that covers the Houston Rockets as well. And so actually we have media day coming up next Monday. And so that'll be the first time that newly acquired players such as Kevin Durant, Josh Okogie, Dorian Finney-Smith, they're going to speak. We'll get a chance to hear from General Manager Rafael Stone and Ime Udoka, head coach Ime Udoka, and they're going to be talking about where do they go from here. So for those of you all who don't know, starting point guard Fred VanVleet tore his ACL during mini camp, and it's likely that he will be out for the entire season. And the sad part about it is, they were depending on Fred this season coming in as Amen Thompson transitioned from playing in the front court to the back court. He was going to play the shooting guard position that became available after the Rockets traded Jalen Green along with Dylan Brooks to the Phoenix Suns. And so when Fred's a veteran, right? And let me just say this, because I talked to Fred VanVleet a lot. I talked to him a lot in that locker room. And Fred and I have had a lot of off the record conversations. And I'm just gonna say this, that something like this that happens, this injury that happens, you hate to see it for a guy who is at a point in his career where he knows that there aren't too many more years that he's going to continue to play basketball and play it at an effective and high level. I understand that some of the people don't like the way Fred VanVleet has played when he's been with the Houston Rockets. And I'm saying to myself, I don't know what you're looking at, because if it wasn't for Fred VanVleet, they wouldn't have even been in that Golden State Warriors series. He's the one that kept them afloat a lot. And so, but you hate to see a player, a veteran player like Fred VanVleet go down, because that if you follow him on social media, he's given his all to this, to coming in and being in the best shape that he could be this season so that he could provide whatever the Houston Rockets need to take that next step. They finished number 2 in the West last year, and Fred missed a lot of the games last year from being hurt. But Fred has done an amazing job of taking care of his body in the off season. As far as his off season training, he started boxing a little bit more. He went overseas to Turkey to train with center Alperen Şengün. Him getting that connection with Alpi, so they can have a strong connection on the court. He's gotten the opportunity to work out with with Kevin Durant. Him and Kevin Durant are really, really cool. And so you just hate to see that for a guy like Fred VanVleet to suffer something like this. You hate to see him have to go through something like this. And if he's unable to come back this season, one of the things that you're going to have to see from the Houston Rockets team early is, what are you going to get from Amen Thompson playing the point guard position? Something that he has not done in the last 2 years, but something that he can definitely do. Because you all remember when he was drafted, he played the point guard position. The position that he's played the last 2 seasons for the Rockets, that ain't something that he was used to. He's just a baller, though. He can just hoop. He's a hooper. He could play. And because of the fact that he can just play, you can put him anywhere on the court, because he also has the mindset of, hey, wherever I'm at, I'm going to dominate. No matter where you put me, I'm going to dominate. And we've seen that on a consistent basis. Like, Amen Thompson can just hoop. He can hoop. Hell, I'm pretty sure you probably could play him at the center. He'll still be able to hoop, because we know what he's able to do on defense. He was a first team All NBA first team defensive player. And we also seen what he's able to do as far as on the offensive side of the ball. Some of y'all not gonna agree with this, but I said this. When I said this, I want to say the end of Amen's, like getting towards the end of Amen's first season. Not even there. I said this way before he had the season that he had last year. Let me tell you something about Amen. If Amen develops a jump shot, you're looking at the next LeBron James. Sarge, you tripping. All right. Tell me what you want. Say what you want. I said this at the end of his rookie year. If he develops a jump shot, he is going to be just like LeBron James. Because when you look at the attributes of what LeBron James, the attributes that he possesses, if you look at what LeBron James can do, and then you look at Amen, what are we talking about? Amen has a point guard mentality. That's all he's ever played his entire career before he got to the Houston Rockets was point guard. So he has that mentality of being able to play a point guard. What is one of LeBron James's biggest attributes? He has the mindset of a point guard in a small forward's body. He has the point guard mentality inside of a small forward, power forward's body. That's why when you look up in the top 10 of all-time assist leaders, you're going to see his name. So not only is he the all-time leading scorer, not only does he have so many accolades as far as being on the court, he also is top 10 in assists. He may be top 5. Let me look. Y'all give me a second, because now I want to know. Y'all give me a second. NBA all-time assist leaders list. Let's see. Yep. Okay. And this is just what I thought. And I used to tell people this all the time, because they used to ask me, hey, why do you have LeBron as the GOAT? I said I had LeBron, I had Michael Jordan as the GOAT all the way up until March of 2017. No, March of 2016, either 16 or 17. I had Michael Jordan as the GOAT all the way up to that. And then I started saying, wait a minute, because the GOAT is subjective. So I got LeBron as the GOAT, and it's subjective. So before y'all start saying you dumb, Sarge, that's a dumbass take. Why you gonna say LeBron? He ain't never won. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, hey, look, whatever your criteria for GOAT is, then you keep it that way. You know what my criteria is? Once I really took a step back and I looked, I said, wait a minute now. Not only can this man score, not only can this man play defense, not only is this man one of the most valuable players in the NBA, not only is he not only is he the face of the league, he gets his, but he also gets everybody else involved. Let me tell you something. Here's the top 10 list. Here's the top 10 list of, hold on for a second. Because it shouldn't be till like, oh dang, he got moved down now. Here's the top 10 list of all-time assist leaders in the NBA. John Stockton is number 1. Chris Paul is number 2. Jason Kidd is number 3. LeBron James is number 4. Steve Nash is number 5. Mark Jackson is number 6. Magic Johnson is number 7. Russell Westbrook is number 8. Oscar Robertson is number 9. Isaiah Thomas is number 10. Gary Payton is number 11. Andre Miller is number 12. James Harden is number 13. Rod Strickland is number 14. Rajon Rondo is number 15. Maurice Cheeks is number 16. Lenny Wilkins is number 17. Terry Porter is number 18. Kyle Lowry is number 19. Tim Hardaway, 20. Tony Parker, 21. Bob Cousy, 22. Guy Rogers, 23. Deron Williams, 24. Muggsy Bogues, 25. Kevin Johnson, 26. Mike Conley, 27. Derek Harper, 28. 29 is Stephen Curry. 30, Tiny Archibald. 31, Stephon Marbury. 32, John Lucas. 33 is Reggie Theus. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Give me a second. Oh, shoot. Where is it? And I'm saying all that because I can keep going. I'm trying to see. It used to be. Hold on. Not until number 49, which is Larry Bird. Not until number 49. Let me make sure I got this right. Yeah. Not until you get to number 49 do you find a player. Not till you get to number 49 do you find a player that is a non-point guard that is in the NBA all-time assist leaders. LeBron is number 4. He's also the all-time scoring leader. So anytime you got a complete basketball player that can get his, but also get everybody else involved, for me, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? What's up, Dre on 290? Everyone right to have an opinion. Hold on. Because I was going through the list really quick. So that's why I didn't see it. Hold on, give me a second. I was going because I just kept scrolling. Yeah, you're right. 38, Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen, number 38. LeBron is 30. LeBron is number 4. And so Sorry, I subscribed for Texans, but I've stayed for all H-Town sports. So yeah, we're gonna need a Rockets happy hour too. I'm gonna give y'all a Rockets happy hour, man. We gotta call it something else. All right, Queen, I'll talk to you later. Yeah, I gotta go eat. But I feel like our man Thompson is going to be, if he develops a jump shot and if he has time to develop at that point guard position, he's gonna be right up there too. We're gonna be talking about one of the next greats in our man Thompson. What I'm worried about when it comes to the Houston Rockets is now who plays number two? Who is the shooting guard for you? Who's going to be the shooting guard? Because if you're going to put Reed Shepard in there, I don't know. Can Dorian Finney-Smith? I don't know who they're going to get to play the two guard. And if you're going to put Reed Shepard in there, he's going to have to step up. And I will say this: Jalen Green aside, okay, cool. I get Jalen Green is gone. If we're keeping it a buck, make sure I write this down. If we're keeping this a buck, this is where the Rockets could have really used Cam Whitmore. If we're keeping it a buck, we're keeping it a buck. This is where the Rockets could have really used Cam Whitmore. I gotta go eat. Real quick, do you think the Rockets are still title contenders with Fred out for the season? Oh, two things, Hefe. I hope I pronounced that right. Two things, Hefe. One is, what type of leap is Reed Shepard going to take? If Reed Shepard can take that leap, it puts you right back into contention because of his shooting ability. And he may be able to, if he's in that starting lineup, he should be able to get those opportunities because you still have men that's going to be able to create. You're going to have Kevin Durant on the floor that has to be paid attention to. You're going to have Jabari Smith Jr., who is going to take that next step this year. You're going to have to watch, and you're going to have Alpi on the floor. So, it should be some, because normally, let me say this. Normally, teams love to go to zone. Teams love to go to zone on the Rockets because they didn't really have any shooters. Which, by the way, have y'all seen what Jalen Green's, where he ranked last year as far as 3-pointers is concerned and his 3-pointer percentage? Like, him and Dylan was actually the best 3-point shooters on the team. That's another story for another time. But Reed Shepard, I'm sorry, not Reed Shepard. The Rockets normally struggled when teams went to zone because they didn't have anybody that can shoot them out of a zone. Now you got the zone buster, the ultimate zone buster in Kevin Durant. You go zone on Kevin Durant, they're going to put him right in his sweet spots and he's going to kill you. He's going to shoot you right up out of that zone. I mean, if in that zone you focus towards him to stop his shot, he's going to dump it down to Alpi, and Alpi's going to score. He's going to kick it to Jabari, who probably is going to be cutting to the basket. But in that zone, Kevin Durant is the ultimate zone buster. And when you focus on him, then on the backside, when they swing the ball, Reed Shepard should be in the corner ready to fire. Fire! Third hole! So, that can happen. Yes, because I also feel like the Houston Rockets still have a really good defensive team, and they still have and I like Josh Okogie too. Like, hey, I like Josh Okogie. I really do. He has something tomorrow, doesn't he? I think he does. Anyway, so it's tricky. Wait till I see them in training camp, and then I'll be able to tell you more. Wait, what did you say, J. Hoper? Talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson, same dude who got stalled off a few years by the Bears wide receiver. He out of here. Ah. All right, Derek, be safe out there. Sorry, little dedication you put. You never seen this one. Keep what you're doing. I appreciate that. All right. With that being said, I gotta go see my wife, man. It's almost 8:00. She been home. She probably like, nah, she ain't worried about me. She in there watching WNBA. I really appreciate y'all joining me today, though. I've really, really enjoyed this. And if you get a chance, please share it, like, share. Hold on, I gotta take a picture of something. Please like, share, retweet, all that other good stuff. I really appreciate y'all, man. And I will have more on C.J. Gardner-Johnson once we talk to D'Amico Ryans on Wednesday. And we talked to D'Amico Ryans on Wednesday. And, once we get into the locker rooms. Matter of fact, C.J. Stroud speaks on tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. You've been tuned to the Texas Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com for all your winery needs. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine. That's the closest thing to it. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports, the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are subscribed to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube page. All one word. Excuse me. Texans Tailgate Talk. Follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because we do everything for the gram. Did I say follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media? I hope I did. Yeah. I'm out.
Big Sarge.